what do you do?
My name's Andrew Broadbent and I run Cuddle workshops.
Fantastic. Andrew, what is Tantra to you?
Tantra, I'll tell you what it isn't. It isn't what a lot of people's perception might be, that it's purely sexual, and you hear people thinking, oh, well, it's something to do with sting and sex, and we don't know what it is. I would say it includes sexuality, but it is not exclusively about sexuality. Certainly about connection to yourself, presence, and by presence I'm meaning thinking about what your body wants without judgment is certainly part of it. Connection with yourself, but it can involve, if you go to a Tantra workshop, it could involve breathing techniques and meditation just as much as it could involve touch and other aspects.
Great, thanks. So you run Cuddle workshops. How did you get into running Cuddle workshops?
Right, well, what happened was I split from a girlfriend, and a few weeks later I was missing something, couldn't quite work out what it was, thought maybe it's the physical side of the relationship that's missing, what could it be? And then I realised that actually one of the most pleasurable moments of each day were just cuddled up on the sofa, sharing the things that's happened through the day, or cuddled up watching a TV or something like that, and I was missing that touch, and I thought there must be some way you can go to get a hug, to get cuddles, where that doesn't mean anything, but where you could go for that, and I just couldn't find anywhere. I thought about setting up my own. That didn't seem to work because friends were saying I was a bit weird, and actually then I found somebody in London that was doing just that, and went to befriend her and get involved in running them for myself, which has been a really big part of my life the last few years.
Fantastic. What are the main benefits, would you say?
Well, first of all, there's the obvious benefit that if you come to a Cuddle workshop, you're likely to get into nurturing touch. Therefore, there's an oxytocin buzz, and that 20 seconds of oxytocin, a minimum of 20 seconds of oxytocin each day, will affect your outlook for the next 24 hours. And when I went to my first Cuddle workshop, I thought I would come back thinking, oh, well, I've got a few hugs and I feel a bit better. And I expected 24 hours later that I would feel just the same as I was before I came, but it wasn't. That I just felt more loved and more accepted than I had done for a long time. It was a very deep, really deep experience, much deeper than what I was expecting.
Fantastic. What's made you laugh? Has anything in the groups made you laugh?
I think it's quite funny about people's, when you hear people's stories afterwards, I thought it was going to be a group full of, hippies dancing around in hemp skirts and this kind of thing, and I'd be the only normal person in the room and all this kind of thing. So, yeah, maybe something, people's preconceptions, and mine were worse than everybody else's, I'm sure. But actually, it's just normal people normal everyday people who attend.
Cool. What do you think stops other people who don't attend from not attending?
I think the biggest thing that stops people from attending is there is a fear, and there is a fear that people might be attending for the wrong reasons, that, we all know what goes on at a Cuddle workshop, people are going to get groped and this kind of thing. And it just doesn't happen. There's lots of rules, lots of boundaries that we stick to, and you tend to find that the touch is really soft, really nurturing, really gentle. But I think that's the fear. The fear is of what it might be. But actually, it turns out that no, there are lots of rules, and it's not a sexual atmosphere at all.
Right. Okay. What would you say you've learnt from running these workshops?
I've learnt that I believe that that we all have it. We all seek to. We all want unconditional love, and we all want to unconditionally love others. And everybody that comes seems to just want connection, wants nurturing, wants to honour the other person, wants to feel honoured themselves, and come out feeling more loved and accepted than what they've done before.
Mm-hmm. What was your experience? You mentioned having the girlfriend, and before that, not perhaps running these groups and doing that sort of thing. So, what was your experience of cuddling when you were, say, a teenager?
For me, yeah, I think when I was growing up, I think what happens with a lot of us as well is that as we're growing up, we might get to a point where we're maybe 10 years old or so, and we pull away from our parents. Oh no, I'm too old to be, cuddled and hugged by parents and so on, or else our parents push us away because we're growing into little adults. And when we come back to touch again, it's at the time when we're dating for the first time and having our first sexual experience, just as our cuddle needs are being met, our touch needs are being met for the first time. And I think we can get really tied up into thinking that the two things are exactly the same. And so, yeah, when I was a teenager, I did believe that all touch was in some way had a sexual origin to it, and then I realised that later on in life, actually, not necessarily. There's nurturing touch and the sexual touch. Yeah. Sometimes they're together, and sometimes they're not. Yeah.
Okay, so if you were giving some advice from the wisdom you've got today to your teenage self about cuddling, about closeness, about relationships in general, what do you think you may say to yourself?
Not to have a goal. I think I was very goal-driven as a teenager. I would look back and say, just let things happen. And yeah, there are. You can have a fantastic time feeling really nurtured with touch. And so, yeah, I think that would be it. Just no goals. Just have a great time and just see what happens.
How would you like to see the future in terms of people's openness to touch specifically?
Yeah, well, I think it should feel more acceptable, more accepted to come to workshops like mine. And I talk to a lot of people about the Cuddle workshops, and for some people it's like, yeah, okay, that's a need that exists, and and it's great to come to Cuddle workshops. But a lot of people, it's still too much to accept. So I think acceptance, really, yeah.
Well, thanks so much for all of this. So a final question. Do you find it easy to cuddle everybody?
Yes, I think I find it very easy to cuddle anybody and everybody, whether it's a man or a woman. It doesn't matter. They're a beautiful, living, breathing human being.
Yeah, fantastic. Thank you very much.
Thank you.